In this video, we are gonna addressing the Bhopal gas disaster to legal and oversight improvement. Bhopal gas disaster is a gas leak incident occurring in 1984 India that's caused many deaths and long-term problems. Families were torn apart, with many losing their primary breadwinner survivor, including children who were orphaned or left with lifelong disability.
Next, I'm going to talk about problem identification and analysis. The Indian government failed to enforce industrial safety laws to Union Carbide India Limited (UCL), creating a vulnerable environment for their irresponsibility where they prioritize cost-cutting over safety. Moreover, a negligence leading to breakdown safety culture at Bhopal plant that locate near the low-income community, making the problem more worse.
The first recommendation is the Indian government should strengthen the legal framework for industry safety. To prevent future industrial disasters like Bhopal, the Indian government must enforce stricter legal regulations and establish a robust, well-integrated regulatory system aligned with international safety standards. This must need the involvement of Ministry of Labour and Employee as well as Directorate of Industrial Safety and Health across India state. The scale must be at national scale, including two steps. First one is by 2025, Indian government must review comprehensive assessing law at both local and international standard. The second stage is by mid-2026, safety inspections must be carried out across factory and ensuring the legal are implemented at nationwide scale. With the limitations is a high level of comprehension of Indian government. In the first stage, they need to have a comprehensive assessing law drawing from global agreements such as ILO Convention 174, a convention that prevent and address the major accidents involve hazardous substances and future strategic consequences, and the United Nations Guiding Principle on Business and Human Rights emphasize safeguard human rights during business operations. The legal review should be complete by the end of 2025 through strong cooperation between Ministry of Labour and Employee as well as Directorate of Industrial Safety and Health across Indian state. Also, they need to recruit and train inspector to get ready for next step. The second stage is the government must have regular safety inspection targeting high-risk industry such as nuclear energy and manufacturing to ensure strict compliance within safety standard. The government can make the pilot testing for first year for deploy sensors in 50 high-risk plants as well as monthly unannounced inspection pilot zone in a small scale first to improve the effectiveness of inspections before announcing the nationwide scaling by 2027, where they expand to 200 inspectors with full sensor rollout and 800 hazardous plants.
So implementing this safety revolution demands strategic investment, but every penny prevents future tragedies. We'll allocate funds for expert legal consultants to draft amendments and establish NCSBN headquarters in Delhi and Mumbai, creating command centers for enforcement. Budget should also cover salary for elite inspectors and world-class training programs. The technological backbone requires sensors to high-risk faculty and customized monitoring software with annual and license, and of course, maintenance for all of this. This isn't just expenditures, it is also insurance against another generation of loss. And corruption may be the biggest threat, as India ranks 96 globally in the transparency and almost 40% revealing systemic vulnerabilities in public institutions. Safety inspectors remain vulnerable to bribery and unethical pressures. Corporate lobbying actively works to weaken regulations, and bureaucracy delays urgent hiring and technology implementations. These aren't just hypotheticals, they are also lessons from the past, and indeed this Bhopal gas tragedy. But with layered safeguards, we can break the cycle.
Moving on to the next recommendation, which is On-Site Independent Safety Oversight Committee. UCC should establish independent, community-based on-site safety oversight committee in collaboration with local authorities and residents. This committee will include external safety expert, worker representative, and NGO to ensure unbiased inspection, regular safety review, and transparent reporting. This recommendation addressed the severe safety failures exposed by the Bhopal tragedy, such as disabled alarms and poor maintenance, which reflect a lack of oversight and stakeholder engagement. Rooted in stakeholder theory, this approach promotes inclusive governance, improved compliance and emergency response, and build public trust, particularly in vulnerable communities with limited access to safety information. There are 6 tasks that need to be carried out. The first one is establish independent oversight committee. Form on-site safety committee in partnership with local authorities and residents. Second one is appoint multi-stakeholder member. Appoint external safety experts, worker reps, and NGO for unbiased oversight. Next one is conduct regular inspection. Perform frequent review of safety systems, storage procedure, and emergency readiness. The fourth one is ensure transparent reporting. Publicly share safety findings to build trust and promote accountability. 5. Engage the community. Improve risk communication and safety awareness, especially for vulnerable groups. And the last one is support internal reforms. Use community insight to fix alarms, staffing gaps, and storage protocol. There are 4 parties who's responsible to be in charge of each task. The first one is the UCC to initiate and implementing the safety oversight committee and forming partnership with local authorities as well as residents. The second one is committee membership to regulate safety review and inspection as well as transparent reporting of practice. The third one is independent committee, which is external industrial safety expert, worker representative, and NGO to ensure ongoing safety accountability. And the last one is the oversight committee, which is responsible to maintain internal safety system improvement like alarms, storage procedure, etc.
Moving on, we're going to talk about the when and wheres of our recommendation for UCIL, which is making a program which launch community outreach and safety education initiatives immediately for the most affected areas, especially in the densely populated and low-income areas around the plant, and aim to roll out key programs within 6 to 12 months by the late 1985s, providing timely relief and building community trust, as well as after the initial phase, they have to scale the program to other at-risk industrial plants or projects across India to prevent similar disasters. Okay, so next we have the type of cost that is involved in our recommendation, which is basically summing up to 3 points with external points such as operational cost and opportunity cost. So the 3 main points is training and education, community outreach, as well as the health programs. For in-depth talk explanation about training and education, it involves developing a comprehensive safe training materials and allocating time for employees to receive proper training. And for community outreach, it involves running campaigns such as multilingual public awareness, local workshops, as well as distributing safety materials to community in need. For health programs, it requires investments in mobile clinics, protective gear, health checkups, as well as emergency response kits to affect the population. For the operational cost, talking in depth is more to hiring the external safety experts as well as the organizations, informal events, and producing communication resources. For the opportunity cost, it's diverting staff time from production to training may cause short-term productivity dips, but in the long term it'll have a better safety outcome and increase in public trust will happen. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the potential problems which UCIL will face, especially externally, which is the language and literacy barriers to community, public, community distrust, as well as the sustainability risk. And more internally, it will be more towards the internal resistance as well as the management hesitation. So for language and barriers, public understanding is important and key aspect for solving problems. Community distrust is also a factor because of the language and literacy barriers, which could result in low participation or skepticism, and as well as the government or NGO support is if it isn't like secured for long-term communication. That's for our sustainability risk. As well, for the internal risk is more to management issues, which is like retraining efforts or merit-based reforms, and non-revenue generating initiatives could also delay and underfund programs.
To sum up, the Bhopal gas tragedy exemplifies a catastrophic failure in corporate governance, regulatory enforcement, and safety culture. Weak legal frameworks, poor sociocultural awareness, and supplier negligence create conditions for one of the world's worst industrial disasters. This case underscores the importance of ethical responsibility, stakeholder engagement, and risk management in high-risk industry.